everybody, and today we are going to add some secondary element to the background and also polishing the tail in front. So first up, I think we should start with the tail since it's the foreground element. And let's go. So for the tail, in our references, it has a little bit of red, and that's like the stop of the tail. A little bit of meat on the tail, and yeah, basically that's it. And we're gonna also remember that there's also the moonlighting. So let's go ahead and paint in the moonlighting because it's the more obvious thing. For our tail, we probably don't need so much detail because it's going to be blurred later. Yeah, it's going to have some motion blur later, so I'm not so worried about that. But of course, one thing for sure, we still want the silhouette to be as good as possible. Okay. We can do the rest later. So let's go ahead and paint in the lighting. So for the white light, it's going to be as clear cut as like that, like that. Probably will touch a little bit of white light here as well. And we probably will have a little bit here as well. It probably wouldn't reach here because the back is covering, and also since we changed the way the dress works, sorry, the clothes works, the tail should come out from this tail. We could actually cut it out. Oh, it seems like I have accidentally painted the smoke onto the tail layer. So let's go ahead and remove that smoke first. We will add that in later. So yeah, definitely be careful when you are working on new details. Working on new layers, sometimes you might forget and you might put it on the wrong layer. So this tail should be coming out from the... You know what, we can just redraw it. It should be coming out from this layer, the skin layer. So we can start drawing from there. So I think the tail come out from here. Tail can come out like that, and it will still be doing the flowy lines that we have initially projected for her. But since we have changed a little bit of where the tail come from, maybe we can also play with better shapes. Okay, maybe the tail, right, will go down, and then it do a loop here. But the loop must look organically nice as well. Like that. Or the tail can go over there. Because I do like the idea of the tail overlapping this line here. We could just keep it like that, to be honest. And okay, let's move on to the rest of the tail. So nothing fancy, nothing hard, just a red on the tail. Showing a little bit of the anatomy of the tail. And for this tail, we should also have the white around it. Probably a bit of bounce like from the bottom. But let's be subtle here because this is a foreground, so I want this tail to be darker than this part of the... Okay. Continue to add the smoke. And yeah, we do have a tail now. Simple detail. When we zoom out, we can see what's happening. Perhaps we can just like bump up the colors of the tail. So it looks more, it's like, looks more relevant. Okay, here that we are facing a tangent right here. Look at this line. This line. This line right here, this straight line, we should try to avoid this kind of line. So what I would do is either scale this there a little bit or just scale it up longer. And of course I also want to avoid tangent on the other side, especially here. So yeah, we're gonna be careful. Maybe like that will be okay. Or it could be like that. This is also fine, as long as there's no tangent. I think this is fine. Or we could add another loop here so that I think we can add another loop here. Going down, going down, going up, going down, going one round. Perhaps we can fix this one. Yeah, I'm trying to visualize how the wing is doing the loop as the tail is doing the loop as well. I think we can just merge down the white. It's a very little detail to paint over to begin with, so let's not be too, let's be bold for once. Or what we can do is have the tail point in like that. And then later on we can add some bird element right here and right here. And of course I want the tail to be more less stiff. Right now it looks very hard. Doesn't look very slick. The tail doesn't look like it can bend a lot. So it could just be how like the width of the tail is. Or maybe if we make it thinner, it will look better. Yeah, I like it that it looks thinner here. If not, it looks really stiff. But I feel that the line can be more organic. Let's delete the line and redraw the line again. Yeah, especially like more more like detail, like slick line, tails, this kind of element. It doesn't take much time to draw, and it gives a lot of a composition element into your painting. It's definitely a good investment to redraw this part several times to figure out the best curve for your painting. And flow is generally very important for illustration. So right now, it still looks very boring. It could be that this part is too straight. This part is too straight. So maybe I start with this with a little bit of tilt. And maybe we will draw from the other side instead, because it gets curvy at the end. So I kind of like this better. Maybe it doesn't, the tail doesn't necessarily need to point at her. I was just thinking it's better to point at her because of for the composition sake. But probably we don't need to do that if it's that difficult. Something like that would be nice. I like the organic look of the tail now, even though it's not pointing at her. And we can now move on to drawing some bats in the background. So let's go to the background layer. It's our cloud layer. And let's organize our layer a little bit more. Let's merge down the things that we don't need.
Are you done? Taking a break.